You ever have one of those days? You teach a lesson, you think it's great, and for some students, it's a home run. But for others, it just completely misses the mark. Well, today, we're diving into a blueprint for teaching that tackles that exact problem. It's called Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. And trust me, it's all about designing lessons that click for every student right from the very beginning.
Yeah, we've all been there, right? You put all this heart and soul into a lesson plan and you watch as half the class gets it instantly, while the other half just seems lost. It's got to be one of the biggest challenges we face in education.
And the reason for that is actually pretty simple. The whole one-size-fits-all model, it's kind of a myth. When we aim our teaching at some imaginary average student, we often end up missing, well, pretty much everyone.
But what if? What if we could flip that? Instead of constantly trying to patch and adjust our lessons after we realize they're not working, what if we had a blueprint? A way to build that flexibility and accessibility right into the DNA of our lessons from the get-go. Well, that blueprint is UDL. Now, the official definition is right here. It's a framework that gives us a structure for personalizing and supporting learning. But really, what it is, it's a way of thinking that helps us anticipate and plan for the incredible variety of learners we have in our classrooms.
My favorite way to think about it is through architecture. You wouldn't build a brand new building and then decide to add ramps or an elevator. No way. You design those things in from day one. UDL is just that same idea, but for designing lessons. It's proactive, not reactive.
So how does this blueprint actually work? It's surprisingly simple, really. It's built on 3 big ideas that match up with how our brains learn. We're talking about the why, the what, and the how of learning. Let's break those down.
So first up, we've got the why of learning. This is all about engagement. It's about answering that fundamental question every student has. Why should I care about this? Because let's be honest, if we can't get them interested, if we can't tap into their motivation, nothing else is really going to stick. And the goal here is way bigger than just a fun activity to kick things off. It's about having lots of different ways to grab their interest, and just as importantly, to keep that motivation going throughout the entire lesson.
So what does this actually look like? Well, maybe you spark curiosity with a little mystery. Or instead of one standard book report, you offer choices. They can make a podcast or draw a comic strip. The whole idea is to make it relevant to their world, let them collaborate, and just give them options for how they connect with the material.
Okay, so once they're hooked, once you've answered the why, we move on to the second principle, the what of learning. This is all about how we present the information, because we all know that just reading a wall of text isn't the best way for every student to learn.
This principle is really about one thing: choice. It's about providing the content in multiple ways so that every single student has an equal shot at understanding it, no matter how they learn best. Think of it like this. You're building different doors into the same room of knowledge. For one student, that door might be a video. For another, it's a diagram. For someone else, it's listening to an audio recording of the text. You can highlight key ideas or give them definitions on the fly. It's all about making sure there's more than one path to understanding. And that brings us to the third and final piece of the puzzle, the how of learning. This is where we get to the good stuff, giving students multiple ways to show us what they actually know. Because that 5-paragraph essay is not the only way to demonstrate real understanding. What this means is that we're encouraged to give students different ways to express themselves and show their learning. We focus on the learning goal itself, not the specific tool they use to prove they've met it. So just imagine what this could do for your classroom. Instead of grading 30 identical projects, you could have a student building a model, another one recording a short video, and another group writing a script for a play. You're measuring their knowledge, not just their writing skills. The possibilities are, well, pretty much endless. All right, so that's the blueprint in a nutshell: the why, the what, and the how. But how do we put this into practice, especially when we're trying to use technology in our classrooms? Let's walk through the design process. Now, this process is super intentional, and it flips the script on how we usually think about tech. So often, we find a cool new app and then try to build a lesson around it. UDL says, hold on, start with your learning goal first, make it crystal clear. Then think about the why, what, and how, and only after all that do you pick a tech tool that actually supports those goals. And the last step? You got to ask yourself if it really made a difference. And that reflection piece, it is absolutely vital. You have to ask the hard questions. Was this technology just a flashy new toy, or did it really open up new doors for my students? Did it remove barriers, or did it accidentally put up new ones? Because here's the bottom line. Technology and UDL can be an incredible team,
but only when we use that tech for active, creative learning. We have to avoid what some people call passive consumption, just mindlessly watching or scrolling. The goal is to use our tools to open doors.
I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds like a lot more work. But honestly, UDL isn't about making 3 different lesson plans. It's about making one smarter, more flexible lesson plan from the start. It's really a mindset shift, from reacting to student struggles to proactively planning for everyone's success.
So, I'll leave you with this challenge. Think about a lesson you teach all the time. Now look at it through that UDL lens, the why, the what, and the how. How could adding just one single tech tool, chosen with real intention, totally transform that lesson and make it work for every single learner in your room? Something to think about.